Hi, everyone. My name is Allison Grosz. I'm a partner with Hemrick O'Malley, PLLC here in New York City. I want to talk today about something that a lot of people will ask about, specifically friends and family members of immigrants in the United States. I want to talk today about who is eligible for release from immigration detention and how you can be released from immigration detention. People are oftentimes taken into immigration detention for various reasons while they're at the border trying to enter the United States. Sometimes they're taken into immigration detention when they have already crossed into the United States, either legally or illegally. So let's talk about this. People don't realize that after they have legally entered the United States, it's possible to be taken in by immigration and taken into their custody or their detention. When I say immigration, I mean Immigration, Customs, and Enforcement, which is often known as or referred to as ICE. When ICE takes someone into immigration detention after they have legally entered the United States, either with a visa or by some other method, or after they have made an application for some kind of status here in the United States, ICE typically takes somebody into immigration detention when that person has either violated some part of the law or ICE believes that they could possibly violate some part of the law. With this being said, when a person is taken into immigration detention in this manner, there is an option where people can request that the judge release them from immigration detention or ICE detention. If a person requests that they be released from ICE detention from an immigration judge, judges will oftentimes take many factors into consideration. Judges can't always release somebody from ICE detention, however. There are various factors. Some of them include whether a person is accused of very serious crimes or has been convicted of very serious crimes. In circumstances like that, judges not always are allowed to, under the law, or would be willing to release somebody from ICE detention. However, if this has happened to you, a family member, or a friend of yours, you can definitely assess with a qualified immigration attorney whether or not you or the person that you're contacting an attorney about is eligible based on the crimes they committed or the crimes that they have been accused of committing, whether or not they're eligible for release from ICE detention by a request to an immigration judge. There are a couple of other ways where people might be taken into ICE detention and how they might be eligible for release from that detention. If a person illegally enters the United States, for instance, meaning that they illegally cross the border or illegally sneak into the United States by some other method or means, and then they are caught by ICE, sometimes ICE will take them into detention. In circumstances like this, and in most circumstances like this, those people would be eligible to also request release from ICE detention from an immigration judge. These two methods of release by an immigration judge are called requests for bond or motions for bond. Sometimes they're also referred to as custody redetermination hearings. An immigration judge is eligible to make a decision on whether somebody can be released from bond if they have illegally entered the United States and then were caught and taken into detention by ICE. There's one other method where somebody might be taken into immigration detention, however, that's a little less known. When people present themselves at a port of entry at the border of the United States, for instance, if people present themselves at a port of entry, request for admission to the United States based on some reason, oftentimes for humanitarian parole or for some other reason where they want to join family members or make an application for legal status in the United States, the U.S. Customs and Border Protection officers have the option to either allow that person into the United States or will sometimes take them into Immigration, Customs, and Enforcement detention or custody while they determine whether or not that person should be released into the United States based on a valid reason. When this happens, if a person presented themselves at a port of entry, only ICE has the ability to grant somebody release on either what's called bond or release on their own recognizance, or other words, not pay any money, but allow them to be released without paying any money. When this happens, only ICE has jurisdiction, or ICE has authority to allow this person to be released. For people that present themselves at a port of entry, therefore, they cannot ask the immigration judge to release them from immigration, customs, and enforcement custody. This is not based on any discretionary or personal reason or belief of the immigration judge. This is based on a statutory or legal reason about what authority or jurisdiction the immigration judge has. So, to summarize, when a person illegally enters the United States, they can ask an immigration judge to allow them to be released from immigration, customs, and enforcement detention. They can also make that request to ICE themselves. When a person is arrested after already having been in the United States, they can also ask an immigration judge or ICE to be released from ICE detention. However, when a person presents themselves at a port of entry, they lawfully ask the U.S. Customs and Border Protection to allow them into the United States for a specific reason. If ICE and if Customs and Enforcement want to take them into custody, they can, and only ICE has the authority to be able to release them in that case. There is no authority of the immigration judge to release somebody under those circumstances. So, if you have a friend or if you have a family member who has been taken into ICE custody, we highly recommend that you seek a qualified attorney who can advise you on whether or not your friend or family member is able to be released from ICE custody. We here at Hemrick O'Malley, PLLC, of course, represent people in this capacity all of the time. We can competently advise you on whether or not it's worth pursuing bond or any release request from either the immigration court or from ICE themselves. We're happy to hear from you, and we're happy to hear from anyone for any immigration-related matter. We can be contacted at hemrick.law. Thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to talking to everyone again soon.